7 years ago today, I voted to leave the European Union. So who better to join me on my first show than Nigel Farage?
Well, thank you, Lee. Pleased to be here.
Cheers, Nigel. Now then, Nigel.
Hey, look! It's just two normal guys having a pint.
The roles are reversed. It's normally you sat here and me sat there.
Well, that just shows what a small ecosystem the right-wing world of GB News and Talk TV is. Regurgitated guests who become hosts and vice versa. I'm going to zoom through a lot of this interview, but first let's just get a quick measure of the calibre of this conversation.
I want to go a little bit further back to your journey, because I know you're a true patriot. Let's go back to the early 80s when you were at school. We have a problem these days with school teachers indoctrinating children. We know that at universities, at colleges, the left-wing elite, if you like. But you got into a spot of bother.
Hang on, did he just say that basically the teaching profession is indoctrinating kids? He did, didn't he? OK, let's hear what Farage has to say and then zoom through this tripe.
Yeah, when I went to that school, and I was very lucky to go to a great school, a private school, been around 400 years, but 50% of my year were scholarship boys. 50% came from families without much money, so it was a very good social mix. Yeah. The teachers, when I started, the teachers had flown Spitfires, commanded tanks. Yeah. You know, the PE master was an ex-regimental sergeant major. Yeah. I got on brilliantly with them.
That's because you're a and like Anderson, you've discovered there's a chance of exposure through having alternative views, going against the tide.
You know, they were tough, they were harsh, but I got on brilliantly with them. By the time I left, the class of 68 had pretty much taken over the English department and were all way left. Yeah. And so I started to see the kind of liberal intolerance that we're getting now. Yeah. Rather than speak freely, say what you think, it was kind of a bit of a, well, you can't say that, can you? So, yes, and then once I realised that what I was saying was upsetting people, I just kept on saying it and kept on going. But I mean,
look at you. Both of you have got shows on GB News, a channel that's funded by a hedge fund manager.
I think the important thing is always question what you're told.
Anyway, let's get past all this shit and move on to Anderson's other guest.
But I'm going to bring in somebody now in the corner. We have a token lefty in the corner. It's Simon Danchuk. After all these years, Simon, you finally got your name up in chalk. That's a great accolade, that is. That's great stuff.
Thank you.
So you actually voted to remain?
Yeah, that's right. I voted remain in the referendum, but accepted the result of the referendum. So once we'd voted to come out, then I supported that.
So a quick search to see who this 56-year-old guy is, and it turns out that he was a Labour MP who was suspended and eventually resigned after sending explicit messages to a 17-year-old.
Though I have to say, I think it's not been a great success, and it's the Conservative Party who failed to make it a success. I mean, the economy is not doing well from Brexit. I'd be interested to hear what Nigel thinks about that.
OK, you can stop your political broadcast. How would you have done things differently, Simon?
Well, I think we could have done more in terms of the Commonwealth. It accounts for about a third of the population of the world. I think we could have built stronger relationships through the Commonwealth and used that to our advantage economically. I think the economy's been mismanaged, it's fair to say. I mean, just keep changing chancellors and all the rest of it hasn't been good for the country. So we haven't got the Brexit positiveness that we could have got from...
You sound like an ally to Nigel Farage now. You sound like a Brexiteer.
There's more to him than that, but why I'd like to comment on his inclusion is that he's been wheeled out as a lefty, as if he's going to oppose Lee and Nigel's view, but instead he provides a weak, watered-down alternative to them. Surely there's somebody out there who could give these two arseholes a run for their money.
Well, once the people have made the decision, I do support that. I mean, you can't decide any other way. I mean, there are people in the Labour Party who would still have us go back in, and that would be my fear under Keir Starmer.
Click here for something else about Lee Anderson.